So there's an analysis. They have to prove that they were honorable, they acted as a fiduciary and respected the interests of the First Nations. There has to be a type of minimal impairment, and they have to have consulted with the First Nations. And if the rights are infringed to such an extent that you can't really exercise them anymore, some form of compensation has to occur. There's not been any litigation really on the compensation part. I think that could happen down the road. But certainly consultation, there's been a lot of litigation on that. So that's what I'm going to move to here. If you can forward that, please. So this duty to consult flows from the Sparrow test. So when the Crown, the government, whether it's federal or provincial, passes legislation and or takes government action that will infringe an existing right, they have to prove that it's justifiable, and one of those, part of that is to prove that they consulted and accommodated First Nations. So there was a series of cases. A lot of this case law happened in British Columbia, because like Heather said, British Columbia only has a couple of little bit small treaties on the island, the Douglas treaties, and then up in Treaty 8 area of northeastern British Columbia in the Peace, sort of the Peace Hills there before it hits the mountains. That's the only places that had treaties up until the Nisga'a Treaty and now Tsawwassen Treaty. But losing my train of thought here, sorry. 50 plus, you know. Okay. So, well, yeah, there was these two lines of cases, sorry. Two lines of cases coming out of British Columbia at the Court of Appeal level. One set of judges kept saying, if you put up a notice on a board somewhere in a town hall, or you call the band office once, that's enough consultation. If they don't show up, take the initiative to learn, tough luck. That's justifiable. One set of judges were thinking that way and deciding cases that way. Justice Lambert from the Court of Appeal and other judges who sort of followed his reasoning were, no, that's not adequate consultation at all. You need to actually sit down with them, inform them, and hear what their interests are, hear what their worries are, hear what they're concerned about, and then try to accommodate some of those interests in your action or your legislation, so that infringement is to the best possible minimal type of infringement. And as the court cases went on, it was also unclear whether corporations had to consult, because a lot of what was happening was, as many of these cases are, an existing license to cut timber down. Maybe this pulp company has it, and it's being sold to this pulp company or sawmill company. When that transaction happened, if there was no consultation, the First Nations were saying, hey, we need to be consulted before that happens. And the Supreme Court said that duty is not on the corporations. That duty is on the Crown. So the legal duty is on the Crown. Well, what's happened is most of the governments have now passed policies to sort of a template to consult, and they've delegated that powers to the corporations to do, at least to some extent. They can never fully delegate their duty away, but that's how a lot of it is being handled. For business, I think that that's not a bad thing. And as a matter of fact, corporations are doing a much better job than governments. But the duty's still on the government. And when the government is passing legislation, making government action decisions, it's still their duty to do so. And it's amazing. Sometimes it's amazing the arguments the government lawyers come up with. Some of them were arguing that at the treaty, when they negotiated, consultation happened back there. There wasn't even a legal consultation requirement until 1990. How can they argue that was adequate consultation? But anyway, this is the kind of thing that happens. They just throw all the ammunition they can at it. So, but anyway, so it's shifted a lot. The other thing that was litigated was, if that indigenous community is, we're going to do a mine on their territory or a pipeline, and they're asking to be consulted, but they haven't proven that they have an existing right, we don't have to consult them. The court said no. If they're an indigenous community, and there's even a possibility that there could be an existing right, you need to follow it up. You need to go check. Now, the other thing the court said is there's this sort of sliding scale thing, where if it's a minimal impairment or a minimal impact, they may not need to accommodate. They might just, some consultation might work, which, you know, it's tough. But as far as indigenous communities they want the other end of the scale. They want to be consulted well and accommodated. Their interests need to be recognized by the Crown. We want this, we fear this, we're concerned about